everyone! Today I'm going to do a June wrap-up slash July TBR. I know there's a week left in June, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to do this later, so I'm gonna do it now. Okay, so this is what I read in June, and this is what I'm gonna read. Alright, well that was easy, end of the video. No, I'm just kidding, I'll actually tell you what they were. The first book that I read in June is not here with me. It was a library copy. It was this one, except the first one. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So pretend that this is the first one for a quick second. I really like this series so far. I love the writing style. It's really beautiful. The characters are really cool. I love Kvothe, the main character. He's definitely something. I like that there's kind of the story within the story, so you're getting to know Kvothe through what he's telling you about his life, and also the way he's telling you clues you into some other things, and like the interludes where he's telling the chronicler his story gives you some interesting insight about like, okay, we know that he got to here somehow, but how did he get from point A to point B? And that's kind of what the whole story is like. Kvothe spoils you constantly about stuff that's gonna happen later. Like there's one point in the book where he's like talking about this character who's just a big pain in the butt. He's like,
yeah, I probably should have realized he was gonna try to kill me later.
What?
Like he does that all the time. And you just get really confused about like,
What do you mean he tried to kill you later? When did we get to this?
and then you have to wait 50 pages to actually find out what happened. I really thought that was cool. I really like that a lot. I can't wait to read the second one. The second book that I read was a adorable graphic novel adaptation of a Legend of Zelda game, The Phantom Hourglass. I am a huge Legend of Zelda fan, and so when I found out that these existed, I wanted them for quite a while, and I finally got a box set of the bunch of them for my birthday this past winter, and that was so exciting. This is the last one that I had to get to. It's number 10, I guess, in the set. Link is sailing around with Tetra, and they find this ghost ship, and when they go to explore, things get crazy. I love the illustrations. They're so adorable and amazing. I'm gonna have to ask my roommate how to actually pronounce the creator of this novel. It's Akira Himekawa. I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. This was adorable. I loved it. Moving on. The next book that I read was The Golem and the Genie by Helen Wecker. I picked this one up on a whim, really, at the bookstore in May because I just thought it looked interesting. It was actually just like next to all the YA books I was looking at, and I saw this cover and I was like,
Ooh, what's that?
it's the story of these two mythical creatures, a golem and the genie, who basically wake up stranded in New York City, not completely sure of how they got there, and they have to figure out how to survive in this city. It's not exactly a modern day, it's like a few decades ago. You can tell where this takes place, but yeah, I really liked these characters. I liked how their stories intertwined. It was cool to read about New York from that time period, and yeah, I guess it's sort of urban fantasy-ish, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really cool. The next book that I read was This Star Won't Go Out by Esther Earl and her parents, Lori and Wayne Earl. If you don't know who Esther Earl is, you've probably heard of this book before. In the dedication to this book, it says, "To Esther Earl." And basically, she was a very important person in the Nerdfighter community over at the Vlogbrothers, and she was very active in the Harry Potter fan community. She was an awesome girl who happened to be stuck with cancer, and she didn't make it. She died when she was 16, and she had wanted to be a writer and had written some stuff. She's got a lot of really funny journal entries in here that totally brought me back to when I was in that age. A lot of the things that she talks about and sort of the way that she writes about things reminded me a lot of the way I used to write in my own journals. And, you know, just seeing how she struggles with her condition and just the lot that she has in life, and how she tries to keep her family spirits up even when she's hurting, and how she found all of her online friends and so much love, and how she reached out to so many people. It was a very sweet story. I was already interested in Esther before I ever knew this book was a thing, because, you know, she became so important as sort of a symbol of positivity and awesomeness in the Nerdfight area. And we have, you know, Esther Day, which is basically a day you go out and tell the people that you love them, friends, family, people who don't tell enough. And yeah, so I just really wanted to see what she had to say for herself, and I quite enjoyed it. Though I do have to warn you, I definitely got a little teary-eyed because, I mean, it stinks that you know from the get-go that she's not gonna make it, but you know, it's nice to see how many good memories that she made while she was here. When John was writing Fault in Our Stars, I think Esther's dad mentioned that he had told him, Esther taught him that a short life can be a good life. And yeah, you can definitely see that with her. She made the most of it in any way that she could, even when she was frustrated that she couldn't do enough. She's just such a sweet kid, and I really enjoyed reading her story. The next book that I read was Graceling by Kristen Cashore, the first book in the Graceling Realm trilogy. I did a whole series review if you want to know more about my thoughts about that. So just quickly, basically it's a young adult fantasy series. I really enjoyed it. The person you follow in this book is named Katza. She's kick-ass and I love her. It's sort of medievalish times, and the main gimmick of the world is that there are certain people born with 2 different colored eyes, which means that they have a grace, hence Graceling, and that means you have some sort of specialized skill. Katza's is killing people, and you have to follow her on her journey as she discovers how to not be used by other people and to find a positive spin on her grace and what to do with her life. The next book that I read was Fire by Kristen Cashore. This is the second book in the series, sort of, but it's a prequel. Sort of. This book takes place in the same universe as Graceling, but in a different kingdom, and you follow a different main character named Fire. Katza lives in the 7 kingdoms in Graceling, Fire lives in the Dells. There are no Gracelings in Fire's world, there are just monsters, which are colorful counterparts to normal creatures that have a powerful effect over non-monsters. And she can easily manipulate anybody's mind, and she begrudges that skill. Especially because her father used that power to do a lot of bad things, and she's coming to terms with his legacy. And so you follow her, and I really did like this one as well. I didn't like it quite as much as Graceling because it took me like half the book to really get into it, but overall I still really enjoyed this one. You don't have to read Graceling before reading this one. These two you can kind of read in either order, but you do have to read both of them before you read Bitter Blue, which is the last book that I read this month so far. So Bitter Blue takes place 8 or 9 years after Graceling, so it is a sequel, which is why I need to read the other 2 first. I can't tell you exactly who Bitter Blue is because it's sort of a spoiler for Graceling, but you're back in the 7 kingdoms again for this one, and you're focusing on one of them in particular, which is where Bitter Blue lives. She's a really important political figure, I'll just put it that way. In a lot of ways, there's a lot of parallels between Bitter Blue's story and Fire's story, with the dads being evil mind manipulators. But yeah, there's that. He just completely screwed up the kingdom. He had this grace that basically he could manipulate everyone's mind. So she's basically helping her kingdom heal from that. There's lots of mysteries and new characters, and you get to see your old favorites, and I just really love this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. So that's pretty good. That's a lot more than I had been reading, so hooray. Alright, moving on to my July TBR. One of the books I'm going to read is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, the second book in the Name of the Wind King Killer series. We get to follow Kvothe on the next part of his journey, and I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait. I can't wait to dive back into this world again. The next book I'm going to read sometime in July is The Giver by Lois Lowry. This would be a reread. I read this years ago with my mom when I was in middle or elementary school, I forget. It sounds like a sort of dystopian story. I'll read you the blurb. Jonas's world is perfect. Everything is under control. There is no war or fear or pain. There are no choices. Every person is assigned a role in the community. When Jonas turns 12, he is singled out to receive special training from the Giver. The Giver alone holds the memories of the true pain and pleasure of life. Now it's time for Jonas to receive the truth. There is no turning back. I remember really liking it, but I don't remember much about it, and I know the movie is going to be coming out in a couple months, so I wanted to kind of refresh my memory. You know, it's such a quick read, I figured I might as well give it another go. So yeah, I'm excited to read that, and I didn't realize there was more in the series, so I might check those out too. Maybe not this month though, at some point. The next book I'm going to read is Legend by Marie Lu. I've been hearing nothing but amazing stuff about this book and the series. It also sounds like another YA dystopian. From different worlds, June and Day have no reason to cross paths until June's brother is murdered and Day becomes the prime suspect. In a shocking turn of events, the two uncover what has really brought them together and the sinister lengths to which their country will go to keep its secrets. So there we go. I'm excited to jump into this one. The next book that I'm going to read sometime this July is A Terrible Throw. Every Day by David Levithan. My best friend Jess got this for me for I think my birthday, and I've been really excited to read it. The premise is really cool. I think it's a standalone contemporary, and it's about someone who every day they wake up, they're in someone else's body, like a different person every single day. That sounds really intriguing, and I can't wait to see what happens in this one. Also, I just love a good standalone. Everything I read is series, so it's nice to throw in something that's just, you read it and done. You know? Can't wait to do that. The next book that I'm going to read this July is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I have seen so many previews for the movie, and it keeps reminding me like, oh yes, I've had this book on my shelf for ages and I still haven't read it. I've heard a lot of mixed things about the series, but it seems like a lot of people at least really like the first one. So yeah, I want to give it a shot, see if I like it. This is another YA dystopian, I believe. A bunch of these kids were brought to this place. They can't remember anything about their pasts except for their name, and they're not sure why they're there or what they're meant to be doing. And it's them figuring that out, I guess. But yeah, I'm excited to read this and then go see the movie whenever that comes out. And then the last book that I'm going to try and read in July, if I can get through all of these, is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I have been waiting to read this book for a while. I'm so excited. I mean, this has so many like cool illustration, like photographs and stuff, and I'm really into photography. I've just heard so many good things, and I just can't wait to jump into this one finally. Oh my gosh, okay, let's see if I can hold these. Ooh, 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 ooh. Don't try this at home, children. Ha! Haha, can you see all of that? Probably not. Let's hope that most of them are in frame. But yeah, so this is my stack of books that I did read in June and books that I'm hopefully going to get through in July. Wow, this is heavy. Oh, thumbnail. Alright, so that has been a wrap-up slash TBR video. I'm Jackie, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Ah! Ah! Yikes, that was like a scream and a sneeze. Actually, real quick before I go, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's been commenting on my stuff already. I'm thrilled that you guys are already wanting to like interact with my stuff, because I feel like when you're new to YouTube, that doesn't happen for a long time. So the fact that we're already hanging out with one another is really cool, and just shows how awesome this community is. So yeah, I just want to say thanks, and I'm going to be checking out a lot of you guys' channels, and this is really exciting and really fun. So thanks again. And also, if you guys are interested in following what I'm reading, I can link my Goodreads in the doobly-doo. And was there anything else? I think that's it. Okay, bye for real this time. Bye!